Hey guys, this is Jesse from Central Athlete, and today we're talking about how to grow, specifically breaking down. And this is something that we work with a lot with our clients. A lot of our clients, I'd say maybe about 80% of them, to some degree want to look and feel better. And objectively, a lot of times that comes down to how much muscle mass and how much fat mass do we have. So in this section, what we're going to be talking about is how to improve and continue to build skeletal muscle mass. And there's really 5 big components here of how we're going to break down. And a little physiology, so it makes a little bit more sense, but muscle growth is not determined by the degree of motor unit recruitment, but by the mechanical loading experienced by each muscle fiber. And in order to achieve the necessary level of mechanical loading, contraction velocity must be both maximal and slow, because only this combination leads to enough simultaneous cross bridges forming in the muscle fibers controlled by the high threshold motor unit. So essentially, this state can be achieved by 2 things, and that's lifting heavy weights. Arguably that is about 70% or higher if you're 1 rep maximal contraction, or lifting light weights to muscular failure. And that's just not, oh, this feels really tough. It's literally a failed contraction. So you have 2 different types of people that may apply for. Somebody who moves really well and is structurally sound could be a good candidate for lifting heavy weights, whereas maybe an older population who may not move as great, it might make more sense for them to go to muscle failure on some lighter weights. And so that's really the first point of catabolism, of how we're going to break down muscle tissue. The second piece is eccentric loading, and that's it's usually the lowering towards the ground. So in a squat, that's going to be the descent of the squat. On a pull-up, that's going to be the descent of the pull-up. And what we find there is that that's where the majority of muscle damage occurs. And this leads to what strength and conditioning coaches call sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is where the muscle fibers are actually enlarging. The third one is, what is your max physical potential? And we call this the novice effect for people who are really low on that spectrum. So somebody who first comes into the gym is going to experience rapid changes in their fitness. They're going to probably see reductions in fat mass, increases in muscle mass, increases in power and strength, and we're going to see this rapid curve. But what we start to see is when they become an intermediate to an advanced training age and they get closer to their max physical potential, we see that curve start to dovetail off. So you need to understand where somebody is to understand how much muscle they're able to actually grow. If this is somebody who's been training for 10 to 15 years consistently with a great periodized program, you may only see a couple pound improvement in a year, whereas a novice lifter may experience 10 to 15 pounds within a year, and maybe even more if they're an even younger population. The fourth principle is a high lactate production will stimulate the ability to grow. And what I mean by there is just, it kind of goes by the term of shitty shit. It just feels real crappy. So imagine you do 10 bicep curls with a 4-second descent with dumbbells, and then you go into rest 10 seconds, you go into 10 preacher curls with a 4-second descent, rest 10 seconds, and then you go into 10 hammer curls with a 4-second descent. You rest 2 minutes, you repeat that 3 times. If you've ever done something like that, where you have this high lactate production in something like a super tri-set, you understand how terrible that feels. But that high lactate production is correlated with people able to break down and thus grow. And the final one under the breakdown category is, if you're not experiencing the results that you're looking for, train less. And oftentimes what it means is that you're breaking down too much relative to your ability to recover and rebuild. So guys, I hope you found this useful, and stay shredded, my friends.